welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Les, how you doing?
Great, Fred. I'll tell you, it's this industry is just going crazy. They're just doing everything.
Yeah, they are.
Mostly well. There are a few little bumps in the road, so to speak. But
yeah. Well, we're going to get started with Chrysler. Chrysler, we don't talk much about that because they don't sell many Chrysler vehicles. One, the Pacifica, right? Yeah, which is a great vehicle.
Which is good.
Yeah, plug-in hybrid.
Very good.
But this week we're hearing from some executives who spoke with CNBC about a lot of their new plans for the brand. If you remember, when Carlos Tavares ran Stellantis, he was like basically writing it off. Not so much anymore. It's just that quick changeover, isn't it? There's
really a quick changeover. It shows you what's going on internally in these companies where, people very high level but not running the show have all these ideas and they can't get them done. So I'm looking forward to see what Chrysler's going to do. And over at the Porsche company, they show the new 911 Carrera and Cabriolet. These are venerable products. I think that's a good word for them.
Yep.
And very familiar looking.
Yeah.
But
hey, comfort designers.
That's right. And they're terrific cars, and of course every year they've got scores and scores of updates and various changes. But interesting to see what they've added. Yeah,
absolutely. We'll talk about that. And then Donut Motors, talking tech. Listen to this, Les. This electric motor weighs 88 pounds and puts out 845 horsepower. I want one at every wheel. How's that sound? I want to do four-wheel burnouts.
You will do four-wheel out of control is what you'll do. But yeah, a donut motor, electric, which means massive magnetic field. And that's what you get, 845 horsepower of instant power.
There's torque numbers over 3,000 foot-pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have an 88-pound motor, just one. I think one would be enough.
One's enough.
It's amazing. I can't wait to talk tech about this because it just seems huge. And you've got a story about Scout, right?
That's right. They've Scout, and for those that don't know, that's a new SUV company that is kind of the parent company is Volkswagen, but they're really into reviving the old International Harvester Scout name. They have a new option that'll keep you connected anywhere. That's cool.
Yeah, and you know what? If you like this next vehicle, you might not need to be connected anywhere because you could just outrun anything. You could drive anywhere very quickly. We're going to have pricing on the ZR1 Corvette. How much will it set you back? It's interesting, when they revealed the price, they also showed pricing of other supercars and did a comparo in the press release. Isn't that funny?
Well, because they're trying to prove that you don't have to spend that much money to go 233 miles an hour.
Well,
and I'm all for that.
Yeah, it's it's not like it's not a lot of money, but it's still a lot of money. But it's less than if you were buying a Ferrari. Let's just say. Plus, we're going to talk about one of my favorite press vehicles. It might not be as fast as the ZR1, but it sure is fun. This is the GR Corolla Hot Hatch, a 3-cylinder engine, 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive. This thing is a lot of fun, and I think this would be one of my favorite vehicles that I've driven lately. If you miss the Evo, this could be for you. This is a competitor, I would say, to the Golf R. Wide body kit,
definitely.
3 exhaust
Definitely.
output, all based on the humble Corolla. And we're going to go through the new thing for this year, which is a high-performance automatic transmission. You can still get it with the manual, but it is a automatic transmission. What's interesting, Les, when I got this, the first thing I said was this would be a great car for autocross, and every person that buys one of these GR Corollas gets a free membership to NASA. not for rockets, but for autosport crossing. So I think this is the perfect car for that. So that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it's affordable. It's affordable, spirited driving.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it comes with a Toyota warranty. So, hey, let's jump over to this Chrysler story. I was glad to hear. You remember one of the Chrysler relatives was so upset about what Stellantis was doing to Chrysler, basically killing it, that he wanted to buy it or get a deal together to buy it with a group of people and revive it. It was a Chrysler relative, I think, a distant relative. Maybe, though, they won't have to go to those lengths. Maybe with new leadership at Stellantis, things are about to change.
Yeah, some of familiar names are back in the picture. Ralph Gilles.
Yep, we know him well.
Yep, designer, and it looks like Chrysler is going to get serious into building, obviously, the Pacifica, and with their plug-in hybrid drivetrain, it's been a great minivan.
Yeah. Well,
only what two minivans left, right? That and the Odyssey.
Yeah, that and the Odyssey, yes, and the one by Toyota. I can't think of the name.
Oh, right.
Sienna,
right.
Isn't it Sienna? Yeah, and of
Sienna.
course you have that one by the Carnival by Kia, which is sort of tries to live somewhere in between SUV and minivan. But speaking with CNBC, Chrysler CEO Chris Fuel laid out the plans for the brand. It will include more Chrysler Pacifica, which will just keep going, but included other products, 4 products. And, of course, the first up will probably be an SUV. And they say it might be based off the Jeep Wagoneer. So that makes sense, and they'll do a very high-end luxury version of that, probably with one of those high-end interiors that are similar to the Pacifica, right?
Yeah. And, they're not going to be show cars. The Chris Fuel has said that, they're not going to have Gulf wing door panels, roof panels, or retractable steering wheels and all that stuff. They're going to be, contemporary, competitive vehicles. But I'm thrilled about this because Chrysler is just such a great name, and it's got to be close to 100 years old.
Yeah, I think it's.
I don't want it to go away.
No, they of course they talked about the Halcyon. That's the one you were mentioning that had the gull wing doors and that. They talked about SUVs based off the Jeep Wagoneer. How fast do you think they can move. I mean, basically, Tavares was killing the brand. He was like, "Oh, you have 10 years. Now you have a year." You know, remember that where he said you have 10
That's
years
right.
to come back, and now and apparently that's all over. I mean, now I think probably the smart thing to do is bring out a luxury SUV, right?
Well, and I'm sure they'll do that first. And I think they can do that probably in a year. I mean, you don't have to remake the anything other than just the styling and the interior.
Well,
And
I
use
wonder if all that styling has been like almost you need like people just going out on their own and doing it, like Ralph Gilles saying, "I know that we haven't been
right.
green lighted on any of this, but we need to think about if we were going to take a Wagoneer and make it into a high-end Chrysler, what would it look like?" And I think
Yeah.
probably it was like the people that kept the Corvette alive when they wanted to kill it. People were just designing it even behind
Exactly.
like hidden walls and things like that. Because it just takes these people that will, like Ralph and others, that will just gut it out to design these things just in case. So now they're like, go, and you don't say, well, I haven't like designed anything. I don't want it to look just like the
Yeah, no,
Wagoneer.
they've got plenty of designs and stampings in the wings. They've been probably, champing at the bit for the last several years,
Yeah.
and they're ready to go. I mean, they made the Viper in what, 18 months?
Yes. I think this is like a World War II effort to turn it around quickly.
Yeah.
The moonshot, as they say, to turn it around. They're going to base a lot of these projects off the STLA Large. This was the platform that can take either electric or internal combustion engines. It's used for the new Dodge Charger. Maybe we'll see a Chrysler premium coupe. That would be
Maybe.
interesting.
I would honestly, I'm almost reluctant to say it, but I'd like to see another Chrysler 300. A nice luxury car, sedan. I think that there's a market for it.
Yeah, I agree. What would you like to see from Chrysler? Basically, this is time for Chrysler to be reborn, and I think they'll get a green light to do this. And because let's face it, as good as the Pacifica is, you can't be
Well,
exclusively a minivan brand, right?
well, that's a small niche in the marketplace. It's a great product. I love them.
Yeah.
I've taken a couple on trips in past years. They're wonderful, but
Yeah. Well,
it can't be the only thing.
can't be the only thing that they build. Although here's a brand that builds things pretty much the same, at least looks-wise, but not features-wise. Let's talk about
Yep.
Porsche. The 2025 Porsche 911 Carrera S Coupe and Cabriolet. Some of the highlights are big, significant increase in power compared to its predecessor. The turbocharged 3-liter boxer engine now pumps out 473 horsepower through its 8-speed PDK. And they've optioned it up, or not optioned it up, they've standardized it up, significantly extending the list of standard equipment. And we'll talk a little bit about that. The 3-liter twin-turbo boxer engine, as I said, puts out 473 horsepower, and it slots between the 911 Carrera and 911 Carrera GTS. This is the S Coupe and S Cabriolet. So more horsepower, more standard equipment. You can't go wrong with that. New sport exhaust with tailpipes in silver. Brakes taken from previous generations of 911 Carrera GTS models. So some of the technology moving down to the S Coupe. Pretty cool. Enhanced interior, significantly upgraded interior standard. Increased amount of leather upholstery as standard, including seats, headrest, upper dashboard, upper door panels if equipped, and the rear seats. So they've made it better. They never dramatically change them, do they?
Well, they don't. As Jeremy Clarkson said many times, the laziest designers in the car industry are the Porsche designers, because they never, although they really do change the shape, but it always looks like it has always looked.
Well, in a sense, it's harder to make it look different but without making it look different. And they have that hard job, just like the F-150 designer. You can't mess it up, because if you do, legions of people will be mad at you, right?
That's right. Now, obviously, the major thing they did some number of years ago was to change it to a water-cooled engine rather than air-cooled, because you can only go so far. So, but other than that, it's phenomenal what performance they're getting out of these cars.
Yeah, out of a 6-cylinder twin turbocharged boxer. Push as much air and fuel into it as you can.
That's right. Now, these are not small engines.
No, not small engines at all.
So. It says 3 liters, but if you take one out of the car, it's a big engine.
Absolutely. Hey, more cruise control coming up. When we come back, we are going to talk tech about the donut motor. Yeah, weighs about 88 pounds and puts out a lot of horsepower. That is exciting. We'll talk about that when we come back on Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We are rolling, and we just, I'm excited to talk about this next subject, the donut motor. It's not a motor made of donuts.
It's a car powered by donuts. Is there a police version of this?
That's and it's free if it's a police version.
Yeah.
No, this is an electric motor. It's a type of motor. And the thing about donut electric motors, the technology, is that you get, let's just say, significant power out of a very small package.
This is called Donut Labs. This is the people that are building this, right?
Right.
845 horsepower out of an 88-pound motor. It is so light, everyone used to say, well, wouldn't it be great if we could have wheel-based motors, right? Simple. It puts the power down right by the wheel.
Right.
It's sprung weight as opposed to unsprung weight. So what do you think about this? Even if it wasn't mounted at the wheel, you only need one.
You really only need one.
But why stop there?
But yeah, and of course you don't want to put it at the wheel anyway, because then it's going to have, that's 88 pounds of unsprung weight.
Well, they are talking about putting it at the wheel, actually, believe it or not.
But a much smaller one.
Maybe. But
or maybe not.
Or maybe not. I mean, hey, 88 pounds is light compared to like a 26-inch wheel on a. That's more power, believe it or not, in a single motor than the Ioniq 5N in the Ioniq 5N's full powertrain. Isn't that crazy?
It is really, really staggering. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I have read about these. I am not going to explain the physics of it.
Okay.
But what it's doing is it makes the electromagnet into a torus, Torus, which is basically a circle. And the efficiency is, well, as you can see, is enormous, just enormous.
Well, think about this. They're talking about a family of motors covering drones to semi-tractor trailers. I think also airplanes. They're talking about electric airplanes. This would be, imagine this.
Yeah.
It would be incredible. I just think that the idea that the motor might not weigh barely anything, and that with efficient batteries, like you and I have been saying, they were just at the early stages of this.
We are.
I still think you put one of these motors and a very small Hemi engine just for the sound, and this would be your hybrid system. Imagine that. So the Hemi could put out 400 horsepower, and this could put out 845.
and I describe where we are in electric vehicle performance world. Like the 60s is where the performance world really started in the gasoline engine days, and with reliability. And I'd say that we are basically in the 1960s with electric performance, but it's going to happen a lot faster. It's going to build on itself much quicker than 50 years ago, 60 years ago.
Yeah, when you look at things like AI and you look at computer modeling and things like that, we didn't have that back then.
No.
You don't have to physically try every combination now. You can just run the numbers. So this just blows my mind. It really does. I just think of all the uses for it. It's like reinventing the electric motor, basically. And this could be tucked into a transmission easily. Anything. I mean, it just could be anything. You put multiple versions of this in trucks. There's a 21. They have a planned 21 model for semi trucks producing 268 horsepower and 212 pound-feet of torque, but you might use 6 motors in that. It's like a locomotive. It could be used in a locomotive.
Well, except you do have to generate the electricity.
That is true. But I find this very, very interesting, and we're going to have to talk more about this. By the way, they have one of their motors in production already for a Finnish company. Verge builds motorcycles based around a hubless motor that makes 107 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. That's
wow.
Imagine riding a motorcycle with this. Like those shots of where the motorcycle flies out from under you. I think that could happen, But
yes, it could.
So let's go over to Scout and talk about that brand. We had them on not that long ago on To Cruise Control, talking a little bit about their lineup with their SUV and their pickup truck, all electric powered. Of course, Volkswagen is their parent company. Had some news at the CES show this week in Las Vegas, and they're talking about offering satellite connectivity as an option when its Traveler, SUV, and Terra truck arrive in showrooms in 2027. And they're talking about like unlimited connectivity, basically, via satellite. Now, it could be Starlink. It could be the Jeff Bezos version of Starlink that will be coming out. And I believe there's one other manufacturer. They don't have to announce specifics until 2027. But these things are on the verge of blowing up satellite-based internet access. And it goes well with what they're doing here with the scout trucks, the rugged individualist, the overlander that takes this off into the middle of nowhere, but still wants to watch their Netflix streaming, right?
Right. Well, and, phone home and all that stuff. It's your own little cell phone tower.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you think about this too. Satellite connectivity to your cell phone is coming very quickly. There's a lot of companies working on that as well. So I think we're going to see a big developments in that area as well. And interesting that Scout took CES as a great way to keep, as they develop their vehicle, to keep it in people's minds. And I think it's a great way they did that. Let's talk about ZR1. ZR1 pricing, ZR1 Corvette pricing. It's not going to be cheap.
Well,
or is it?
I frankly consider it a bargain for what it is. This is a world-class supercar.
Right.
In every way. It just happens to be a Corvette.
233 miles per hour on the track, 0 to 60, 2.3 seconds, 1,064 horsepower. GM's not even done there yet. We think there'll be more beyond that, the Zora and things like that.
Right.
That is a hand-assembled 1,064 horsepower twin-turbo V8 engine. So let's talk a little bit about the pricing, right? I've never really seen a price reveal like this, but they wanted to make a point here, GM. So they compared the price of the 2025 Corvette ZR1 to the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, the McLaren 765 LT, the Ferrari SF90 XX, and the Lamborghini Revuelto, right?
Revuelto.
So that one, the Lamborghini, comes in at $608,358.
Right. And it's not as fast.
Well, it's got less horsepower. Yeah, and it's not as fast. That's true. This is your comparo sheet. Less torque. That's got 1,001 horsepower. Ferrari SF90 XX at 528,764 with 1,016.
And the miserable little thing can't even crack 200.
Yeah, who wants a slow car like that? Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, it can't get out of its own way.
How about the McLaren 765 LT?
Okay.
382 horsepower, $500. Only has 755 horsepower. Can it even get on the highway with that?
I'm not sure. You may have to do special roads. and the Porsche, which is the dream of thousands of people,
911 GT3 RS
is only 241,300. Only has 518 horsepower. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah, I think
342. But look at the top speed. I can do this in my Cobra.
All right. So it's come time.
So there.
It's come time to reveal it. The pricing for the 2025 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 base price. Remember, you get 1,064 horsepower, 828 pound-feet of torque, 233 mile per hour top speed. You can have one before dealer markup. $173,300.
Yeah, I think that again, don't even call it a Corvette. This is the American world supercar, like the Porsches and the Koenigseggs and the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis. It just happens to be called a Corvette.
Well, when the C8 came out, it was like, oh, it's no longer every man's car, but I guess it's all relative.
Yeah. No. I mean, they had to do it this way. You can't get that kind of performance keeping these things set up the way old-fashioned.
I just think back to driving the Stingray C8, and I thought that had almost 500 horsepower, and you could go on an entrance ramp from 0 to 100 by the time you get to the end of the entrance ramp.
Sure.
I mean, I was like, do you need more than that?
Well, yeah, apparently. But now, and let's bear in mind, this thing has set records at the Nürburgring.
Oh, yeah.
Sets records wherever it goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Zora Duntov would be ecstatic if he were alive.
If you get the carbon fiber aero package, that creates over 1,200 pounds of downforce. Yeah, while $173,300 might sound like a lot, and it is, when you look at the competition, it's
really a bargain. However, Fred, what we have here in America are car dealers. And the one thing they know how to do when there's a demand for something is add what they euphemistically refer to as added dealer markup.
Which just means I'm going to make more money.
So, sadly, I think in the worst case, there will be some dealers who will double that price.
So now that advantage is not as great, is it?
Yeah. I mean, there will be some dealers who are, want to get them out there and will, let them go at MSRP. But just like the Ford GT back 15, 18 years ago, they were doubling the price.
Right. It's sad but true. But I think you will be able to find it. There are some Corvette dealers, especially the big ones, that have high allocations, and I think they do sell at MSRP or even a little lower. I think you can find Stingrays at lower than MSRP.
And remember, they're going to keep building these things. So if the first people want to spend a whole lot of money to get one, just wait.
Yeah.
As they get out there, you'll be able to get it at MSRP. Just don't be, find something to do. Get a crossword puzzle.
Get a die-cast model. Get a die-cast model of it. Yeah.
And you'll be able to get one. And these, man, would I love to jump into this thing and feel it.
Yeah. It's amazing. And remember, it comes with a warranty. You can't get your Lamborghini repaired at any Chevy dealer, right?
That's correct. Your Lamborghini is going to need to be, if anything major, you're going to have to go to Bologna.
Which is not the worst thing in the world.
No, I've been there, and I've driven their cars on the local roads at stupid speeds.
Mm-hmm.
and this is after lunch with wine.
Excellent. That sounds like a wonderful
Well,
plan.
I'm not. This is not something that the untrained should do. But the fact is that there's just no local fix a plate. Well, Ferrari for sure, and Porsche. They have dealers. They'll fix your stuff.
Well,
but, the other ones, who knows?
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Does that sound like a deal to you? If you could get it for sticker, probably. Weirdly is.
Well, if you could get it for sticker, I think that they'll just continue to go up in value for a few years.
Well, let's talk a little bit news for Mercedes owners. Now, and it is exciting news, at least for Mercedes owners, maybe not so much for Porsche owners. I'm sorry, maybe not so much for Tesla owners, but Mercedes-Benz battery electric vehicle drivers can gain access to Tesla's supercharger network starting in February of 2025. And they will gain ability to charge at over 20,000 Tesla superchargers across the United States and Canada. The drivers based in Canada will gain access to the Tesla Supercharge network later in 2025. It will be integrated into the Mercedes Me Charge service, which is a weird name. Me Charge service, enabling easy. Yes. Enabling easy plug-in charge functionality at the Tesla superchargers for Mercedes-Benz drivers. A NACS to CCS1 adapter for current CCS1 compatible electric vehicles will be available at authorized Mercedes dealerships, enabling safe and fast charging at Tesla superchargers. I wonder if there's going to be like a cottage industry now to change and update those cars that are allowed into the supercharger network, so the actual socket on the car connector on the car will be the correct one, so you won't need the adapter. I bet it could be done. I've seen that done with electronics a lot, but I can see someone like, printing 3D printing the parts necessary and it's wiring, isn't it?
It's wiring.
So get your soldering iron out. But do you think this is an interesting dynamic to me, because I think the Tesla owners have always saw this as their little club. As I told you, there's a parking garage near me. It says Tesla parking only, it's all superchargers in there. Do you think there's going to be like weird interactions with other people driving in their Mercedes or other vehicles that are gaining access to this?
Well, I think in a few places, yes.
Someone didn't get the memo that, hey, this is now a thing? Right. Yeah.
I think you'll get some sort of entitled Tesla owner driving up saying,
I go first.
Hang on, I get to go here before you do. In which case, there could be
fisticuffs.
I don't think it'll be dueling swords at dawn.
Yeah. Do you think like Mercedes drivers will take their vehicles and kind of run over per se in the G-Wagon, they could drive over the top of the Tesla and get to the
I certainly hope not.
Could get interesting. I sense a reality TV show here somewhere.
I'm sure we'll hear in the news at some point a couple of these people have gotten into a fight of some kind.
Yeah. This is mine. Get out.
It'll just be funny on the lighter side of the news, and I don't believe anyone's going to be murdered over it. But
I hope not. It's not really worth it. But hey, when we come back, we're going to have a fun at the wheel for you. It is a hot hatch. I've always been a fan of hot hatches. This is the GR Corolla. Only 3 cylinders, but a lot of fun. Be right back on Cruise Control. And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It's at the wheel time, and this was a real fun one. It was the GR Corolla. Yes, the Corolla, you know it, you love it. It's been around. It's a great deal. Typically has 169 horsepower. Not this one, though. This one has 300, and it has all-wheel drive. It is a blast, this GR Corolla. 3-cylinder engine. The engine torque increases to 295 for this year. And as you can see, it is a Corolla that has a wide body kit, wider front fenders and rear quarter panels get added on, bigger tires, that triple outlet exhaust, extra cooling, bracing of the body. It is a well-engineered vehicle by Gazoo Racing. I always love the name Gazoo because Gazoo means that little space alien on the Fred Flintstone show. We had the Premium Plus model. It has these heat extractors on the hood, which has a power bulge on it. And this was a blast to drive. This is Supersonic Red is the color here. And the Premium Plus goes beyond the Premium. Because it is plus. And it adds a lot of cool things, including this forged carbon fiber roof, which you'll see in just a bit, which was very cool. A sub-radiator, matte black wheels, head-up display, GR logo, Brin knob, suede trim seats with red stitching, that bulge hood, and more. On the inside, it's more than just a Corolla with fancy seats, although these are very fancy seats, which are heated, by the way. And this interior gets some upgrades I'd like to see on all Corollas. Of course, there's a lot of black and piano black, and red stitching abounds, which is fine. But you also get a lot of features that you don't normally see. One of the best gauge layouts ever with the gauges in a row. You can change it with the modes. It changes and gets in the sport mode this great bar type tachometer, easy to read. It's got a G meter in there. Drive modes are easily switched by the button there. And then you can also switch for various types of surfaces on the knob there. Get it into track mode. This has the 8-speed automatic, which is a new offering for the 2025 model year. You can shift it with paddles or by rocking the shifter back and forth. It has a phone charger, 2-level heated seats. One of these things, as I say, don't normally come in here. We do get the nag for their Drive Connect type system, their subscription system, but you can get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, dual zone HVAC control, which is great, and a heated steering wheel, which I believe does not come in any other Corollas that I know of. Nice pedals below as well. Notice there are just 2 pedals because, as I said, this one has the automatic. Tight space out back, who cares, because you're going to be having your fun up front with this vehicle. And you do get a back seat, which actually you can tilt down. That's the brace, the additional $745 body brace. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Rear passengers get a USB-C and a cigarette lighter. Overall, all business on the inside. You know that Corolla interior, and this one, as I said, gets some of the updates. The nicer seats, the heated steering wheel. Out back, you still have some storage, although the storage floor has been raised up. There's that brace I'm talking about, the GR Corolla body brace, which looks cool and does a great job of those suspension mounting, keeping the suspension mounting tight and vibration free. There is kind of a styrofoam box that sits up in the storage area, and there's a reason for that, which you'll see in a second. That's because they mount the battery in the back, and they needed the additional room there to get that. This is the forged carbon fiber roof. They take random strands of carbon fiber, impregnate it with resin, and press it, and make a very light roof. Here's the engine. As I said, 3 cylinders. 300 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Launch control available this year or included this year. Suspension enhancements added stability when cornering. And as I said, there's more cooling up front with additional radiators. That's part of the Premium Plus package. All in all, this is quite the machine. There are the heat extractors, which are part of the Premium Plus package. They are active heat extractors, and I think it's just a great package. I've always been a hot hatch fan. This would compete with things like the Golf R. Now, you might ask, what does a 3-cylinder sound like? And we can give you a little example of this if this all works. It is normally the outside outlets, the 2 end outlets are open. And then maybe I can't give you an example of that. All right. Well, we'll figure that out. Here you go. No, I don't have it. All right. Well, basically how this exhaust works is there are the left and right outlet. They are open most of the time, which means the exhaust goes through the muffler. When you accelerate, there's a valve that opens, and then it goes right out that center outlet. And it kind of sounds like a performance straight 6, I would say. It's a great sound, that 3-cylinder. Of course, it's half of that, which shouldn't surprise anyone. You know, Les, there's some talk they might want to build an upgraded version of this with a 4-cylinder engine.
Wow.
I wonder how much more horse. 400? Who knows?
Another 100 or so.
At least another 100 or so. But I had a lot of fun in this. As I said earlier, I thought, wow, this would make a great autocross vehicle, and apparently Toyota agrees with that, because if purchasers of all 2025 GR Corollas get a complimentary 1-year NASA membership. It is a membership to the National Autosport Association, or NASA. GR Corolla owners enjoy a host of benefits, including 1 free high-performance driving event and discounted admission to NASA-sanctioned events. 1-day high-performance driving event, and you can go to a lot of other events throughout the year. Perfect autocrosser. Autocrossing is a great way to have fun without going real fast. But I think it's a hit. I think it looks good. But what does it cost? Okay, we can tell you what it costs for sure. So this is the Premium Plus. There are some other grades, but this is the top of the line, right? So it starts at $47,515. Supersonic Red adds 475 to it. And then the only other option was the GR chassis brace, which actually I said it adds 745. It actually adds 720. Delivery is 1,135. So total MSRP as tested 49,845. Now once again, you might say, well, hey, that's a Corolla and I'm paying almost $50,000 for it, but you're getting a high level of performance, aren't you?
Well, you are, and you're getting a warranty.
You're getting a warranty.
And you're getting a lot of fun. And you're getting something that'll outrun a whole lot of other performance cars.
It's kind of stealthy in a way if you keep the revs down and don't open up the exhaust.
That's right. And basically, now the most expensive normal Corolla is close to 30, right?
I would say close to 30, has 169 horsepower. You can get like things like dual zone HVAC and things like that in it, but it doesn't look as cool.
Well, that's true. I don't know.
And it doesn't have 300 horsepower.
Yeah. I think if you have the money, it's not so bad. The people, if you drive hot hatchbacks like the Golfs and the Evos and the WRXs, there's something about them that you just can't get in other cars.
Yeah.
So, and they're all kind of up in that price. So I don't know. I don't think it's overpriced. I think it just costs a lot of money.
Well, and people could try to build this, but they're not going to do as well an engineered job as Gazoo Racing people did in a Toyota. I mean, they've increased braking, they've increased the torque of the engine. The 6-speed manual is still available too, if you like the 6-speed manual. So you have an option, which I think is great. We don't see that much anymore, but the Toyota Gazoo Racing 8-speed direct automatic transmission, I thought was great, especially if you're going to do autocrossing and things like that. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to point, stab, and point. And that's right. A fun thing. I found it. Where it's fun. These things are fun when off ramps of highways, because we have some big sweepers, and you don't have to slow down. The thing just it feels glued to the ground. It feels like it's going to handle. And as I mentioned, this layout, I mean, other performance cars could learn from this. It's simple. It's easy to see. The bar tack is great to see. All those gauges in a row like that. There's just one look. I also like that doesn't have a goofy big wing on the back. It's fun without looking silly, as some hatches sometimes do when they overdo it. I always say that there's a point where you should stop and not do any more, and I think they have stopped at the right spot. So there you have it. That is the GR Corolla. It is a fun vehicle. It's not for everyone, because certainly not everyone wants to buy a $50,000 Corolla, because the little Corolla is a great car as it is, with 170 horsepower. But it certainly is a what if we took a Corolla and put all the great pieces on it and engineered the heck out of it. And I hope it sticks around in the lineup, because it's fun, and the red really looks good on this.
It's a good color for that.
Yeah. So price range on these things, they have a Core 8-speed automatic, starts at $40,860. The Core 6-speed is $38,860, and then you can go up to the Premium, which is $43,440 for 8-speed auto, or $41,440 for the 6-speed. The Premium Plus was what we tried. If you got the 6-speed manual, $45,515, and $47,515 for the automatic. And really, the only thing we added to that was the paint and the upgraded paint and the brace back there. And there's a lot more things you can add. I'm sure the tuner market will come in on this and be involved with that. But frankly, what more do you need in this vehicle? You're not going to get much more power out of it, and why reduce the reliability? It is fun to drive, and yes, unlike the GTI, some of the comments are, and you can't get a manual in the GTI, and that is right. No more manual in the GTI as of 2025. So if you want a manual, this might be the car for you, especially when it comes to hot hatches. So, hey, there you have it. The At the Wheel review of the Toyota Corolla GR. Hey, it's time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye.